Hey guys, EDDBUD here. Today I'm going to discuss why I think Nike might be starving the market of the Vaporfly Next Percent and the Alphafly Next Percent. Before we get into the bones of the video today, a new shoe has arrived. Very excited, finally here. The slightly larger size of the Ultra Escalante 2.5. I want to say big thanks to Charles over at Hard Loop. I believe they're in France. Thank you, Charles, for sorting out the exchange on these. Got the right size now, tested them, they feel real good. Lovely room in the toe box there, nice wide toe box. Very light, very cushioned shoe. Really excited to try these out. I've done 4 miles this morning already, just to sort of wake the legs up a little bit. I think I only slept about 3 hours, just can't sleep at the moment. Too hot, too many things going on in my mind. But yeah, we'll get out and do another 6 or 7 miles in the Escalante 2.5 later on. Thanks again to Charles, my buddy, over at Hard Loop. I shall embrace the Ultra Zero Drop running. I really enjoyed the Innovates actually, the Zero Drop. In fact, I just forgot that they were a Zero Drop shoe after a while. Anyway, we digress, let's get to it. So Nike released the watermelon colorways of the Alphafly Next Percent and the Vaporfly Next Percent on the 13th of August over in the US. Asia had received those shoes some weeks before, so there's lots of pictures of them everywhere, people enjoying them. But there were also lots of pictures within my newsfeed and also across all the shoe enthusiast forums everywhere of many disgruntled people who weren't able to get a pair of either of the shoes. Lots of people failed in their bid to grab some, even though they were on the money right when the shoes released. They were sold out in moments across the Nike website and the app. The demand for these shoes always seems to outstrip the actual availability. It made me wonder why this is. Nike seem to be able to produce hundreds and thousands of other training shoes, but not their high-end models. Is it down to production difficulties over the last few months? Is it something to do with the fact that they produced the Olympic colorways of the Alphafly Next Percent and the Vaporfly Next Percent and then had to change them, amend them maybe, so that they're more in keeping with the fact that the Olympics aren't taking place this year? You know, is anyone going to buy a top-end race shoe with Olympic branding on it if there aren't any Olympics this year? Another reason I thought maybe there's something to do with distribution issues right now between certain countries. Obviously the UK have broken away from the EU, sort of. I don't really know what's going on right now. Perhaps production, manufacture, distribution have all been disrupted due to the constant changes in the world right now. There's different quarantines in different places. We're constantly bombarded from Nike, their apps, their fitness apps, telling us to get out there and participate in sport. Keep fit, get out there, get some miles in, get some kilometers under your belt. Just do it. But when it comes to their high-end products that they're urging us to aspire to, we can't get a hold of them. I was really lucky to pick this shoe up right after the marathon trials over in the US in February. I've been really enjoying it. It's a lovely shoe, quite light. Ran a half marathon time trial in it. Loads of people want to buy it, but they just can't. Are you telling me that this shoe is 100 times harder to produce than a Pegasus 37? I just don't believe it. Is it production issues that are causing the market to be starved of these shoes, or are they deliberately limiting the release of the Alphafly Next Percent to build anticipation? Don't get me wrong, I love the Nike Next Percent, I love the Alphafly, really enjoy running in those shoes. I sleep with them near me at all times, and I even employ a cat to protect them night and day. But what sort of business sense is it stopping people that really want to buy the shoes, hand over their hard-earned cash and earth credits, and just seemingly making them unavailable, turning people to the resale market using apps like StockX or Goat? I mean, Nike don't benefit out of that. Surely it's better to sell directly to the customer. I wondered how many of these disgruntled runners will turn to other brands and manufacturers if they can't get hold of Nike's super shoes. Yet again, they might fail to pick up a pair of the Alphafly Next Percent and turn to Saucony or Adidas instead. To the top end athletes, I guess, you know, the Alphafly is the pinnacle, really. But A lot of people will turn to Adidas offerings if they can't get a hold of some of the other shoes. These seem to be readily available. You can just go and buy them and enjoy them. And you'll probably get some great results from them too. All of those world records have been set using the Vaporfly Next percent. But still, for non-elite runners, just everyday people, if the shoe isn't available, well, you just can't buy it. You're probably going to go elsewhere. Gibson guitars used to do this back in the mid-90s. I remember they used to starve the market of certain types of guitar. The 355, for example, with all its special binding and extra varitone circuitry. They made them really hard to get hold of, and that came back to bite them. Fender slowly chipped away at Gibson's market share, until a few years back, Gibson found themselves in some considerable financial trouble. Over in the UK right now, we're absolutely saturated with different colourways of the Pegasus 37. Now, I've tested this shoe out, lots of other people have tested it out. They bought it when it was first released here in the UK, which was delayed after the US got it first. I mean, there's 10 colourways of the Pegasus 37. Does anyone really need 10 colourways? Is anyone interested? I just don't follow the approach at the moment, Nike. It's the same with the Infinity React and the Nike Zoomfly 3, which has been out for like 13 months now. They keep releasing new colourways of it, and I don't see people buying them. It seems that Nike produced Olympic colourway versions of all of those shoes I've just listed. And it seems like they got stacks of these colourways to get rid of now, but with no Olympics to help them sell them. The Air Zoom Victory Spike in the Olympic colourway did appear very briefly. That's the only high-end Nike shoe that's released recently in terms of running. It's listed as sold out now. I don't know how long it was up there for. It's not a shoe I was particularly interested in getting, considering that the local track has only just reopened. And I'm not going to do that shoe justice anyway. I hope that Europe does get a chance to pick up the Nike Alphafly Watermelon release. It's a shoe I've wanted to get hold of for ages, but I'm not going to hop on StockX and pay through the nose to get a colourway of a shoe that I already have. There's so many other colourways of the Next percent as well that appear to be unreleased that might be on the horizon. It's just such a strange situation right now. All the other brands have managed to get their super shoes out there, whereas Nike have starved the market in certain areas of the world, and it just leaves people disgruntled. I think it's doing more damage than it is good. It got me thinking whether the Next percent really is Nike's flagship shoe. Do they still see that as the main high-end offering? I received an image recently from a viewer, DWhite242, which suggests there's a brand new version of the Nike Vaporfly Next percent coming in 2021. The 2021 release could feature 3 very specific changes to the shoe that are big improvements. A lot of people found the padding on the top of the Next percent tongue to be a little inadequate over time. The laces would perhaps dig in a little bit where you cinch them up tight. It seems like Nike are taking a leaf out of the Adidas book and putting in some very specific padding around certain zones on the tongue. Hopefully that will relieve some of the pressure over the miles on the top of the forefoot. The vapor weave is gone, replaced with an almost 3D printed upper. It certainly looks similar to Atom Knit. I wouldn't suggest it's the same, but it's certainly a printed type structure there across the top of the foot. Perhaps even looks a tad more traditional than the vapor weave on the last iteration. They seem to suggest it's going to be vastly more breathable, and perhaps the more flexible nature could fit the foot a little better. Will it have the same anti-sponge-like nature of the vapor weave, which held on to no water whatsoever? We'll have to wait and see. Some runners found their foot would push forward through the very front of the toe box on the Next percent. As their foot struck the ground, the force would perhaps start to push forward through the toe box, and there were a few durability issues. I didn't encounter it myself, but I have seen it on other people's footwear. The upper just started pulling away a little bit from the midsole. So a reinforced section appears to have been implemented around this 2021 version of the Next percent. Similar to that of a trail shoe setup actually. That's what it first reminded me of. Hopefully this will improve durability and also fit and comfort. So 3 very important and welcome upgrades there from this prototype shoe. Makes you wonder whether this version will see the light of day. Very intriguing it seems that the Next percent will carry on life into 2021. You weren't expecting that, were you? I think when everybody first saw this shoe, they thought it was going to sound the death knell for the Next Percent, but clearly not the case. Perhaps its ultra-light nature is meaning that more people are inclined to getting hold of it and utilising it on road. Not on track anymore, obviously. So, do you think Nike are starving the market to help build up more anticipation about the shoes? Let me know in the comments below. I've actually got a TV show recommendation for you today. I've watched it about 3 times now, but I love the science fiction show Fringe. Directed by J.J. Abrams and starring John Noble as Walter. You have to have quite an open mind when watching the show. It kind of features John Noble as a mad scientist who goes about solving crimes which he's possibly caused to happen. I think you really need to go and read about it a little bit first, but John Noble's character is so wonderful. One of the best characters of any TV show I've ever watched. You just love him, you feel sorry for him, you're surprised by him, sometimes you're scared by him, and the supporting characters are all equally as good. I do recommend you go and check it out. I think there's about 5 or 6 seasons of Fringe. It's really, really great. As I say, directed by J.J. Abrams, starring John Noble. It's worth watching, definitely. Hope you've enjoyed today's show, guys. I really enjoyed putting it together for you, as always. Thanks for watching through to the end. It would mean a lot to me if you'd hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when I launch those new videos. It helps the channel out a huge amount as well if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you